Good evening. Wow, it's good to look out there and see all these smiling faces, and so glad to have the public back in our meetings. Just really glad to have you, and maskless. So that's really important. So we're glad you all could be with us tonight. It's the board's practice that prior to the commencement of our board meeting and before calling the meeting to order, that a prayer be given. The board member who delivers the prayer may make reference to his or her own religious faith, just as you might refer to yours when offering a prayer. We wish to emphasize, however, that members of all religious faiths are welcome not only in these meetings, but in our community as well. The participation of all citizens in the process of self-government will help our Board of Supervisors to better serve the good people of Mecklenburg County. This time, I'm going to call on Mr. Brankley to lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Oh, Heavenly Father, we come to you today humble for all the many blessings you have bestowed upon each one of us here today and throughout this county. We thank you for our new school development, and we ask you to help us continue to educate our children to the best of our ability. We ask you to be with the many young men and women that graduated this past week. We ask you to keep them safe, guide them, and direct them in the good path going forward, Lord. We ask you, Lord, now that you would be with each board member here today and help us make good decisions for the people we each represent, and that it would be pleasing to you, Lord. We ask these things in your name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. I will now call this meeting of the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors to order. Would just like to remind you to please turn off or mute your cell phones so we don't have those interruptions as we go forward. I also want to remind you that at the end of our regular agenda, we have a public comment session. We invite you to come up and speak to us on matters of concern that you have concerning our county, and we encourage you to do that. We give you 3 minutes to speak, and so just keep that in mind. We have a sign-up sheet at the back of the room. We do ask that you sign up back there prior to speaking. At this time, I would ask that you stand for our pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, Board, you have in your packet the minutes of May 10th, May 19th, and May 26th. If there are no corrections to those minutes, the Chair would entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
Mr. Chairman, a motion that we approve the May 10th, 19th, and 20th minutes of 20 and 21.
Okay, you've heard the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The agenda you have before you, I have two additions under the County Administrator's report. Add item 11. We need to add a checking account for the general fund, and Mr. Carter will explain all of that when we get there. And item 12 is the report on the Roanoke River Rails to Trails. So that's all the changes that I have to the agenda. Anyone else wishing to add anything at this time? If not, we need a motion to adopt the amended agenda.
Mr. Chair, I so move.
Motion to adopt amended agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Our first order of business tonight is a public hearing on the VDOT 6-year plan. Do want to remind you also that when you speak, we give you 3 minutes to speak during the public hearing. Mr. Brankley, you're committee chairman. Do you have any comments before we go to public hearing?
No, just, I think we were fortunate to get the amount of money that we had to get into this and add, I mean, just probably unprecedented since I've been on this board I think we ended up with 14 roads added to this over this 6-year plan. So I think we're making some strides in the right direction and kind of do some of these dirt roads.
Okay, very good. Mr. Carter, you have any comments?
You do have a new spreadsheet that Mr. Johnson produced for you so that you can see the existing roads in the system. We have 3 left, and the 14 roads that Mr. Brankley was speaking to. Total of almost 20 miles of roads in the 6-year plan. We haven't ever had that, in my opinion, of all the 32 years I've been here.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Any other board members have any comments before we go to public hearing? No, sir.
One more comment, you know, in my understanding, the money is there for this, right, Tommy? We have money in place for this, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that, it's not, right, so that money, okay.
Okay. Therefore, the public hearing is now opened to hear comments concerning the VDOT 6-year plan. Anyone wishing to speak to this matter, please come forward at this time. And give us your name, if you would, please.
Hi, Davis. I'm a new resident in Mecklenburg County, getting ready to build a home. I bought 2 lots down on Greenwood Point on Greenwood Road. We've got 3 other residents here on Greenwood Road here with us tonight. Wanted to see if Greenwood is part of that 6-year plan. We have 18 lots down there. That's probably, also talked with the owner of the property, and that's one of the main reasons over the last 10 years they haven't been selling lots is because of the dirt road.
It is not on the plan.
It's not on the
At this
plan.
time, the plan is based off of the 2005 plan, which had 40-some roads on it at that time. For the next 10 years, we didn't do any roads that were on that plan. They all got dropped. And now we go between traffic count and the ones off the 2005 6-year plan, and it alternates back and forth as to them being added. So traffic count, then one off the original plan. Traffic count, original plan.
How do you go about getting a road on the plan?
It either has to have traffic count or minimum 50. What route number is Greenwood Road?
It's off of Taylor Ferry.
I know where it's at. I'm trying to-
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? 823.
But it has to have a minimum of 50 vehicle count per day or been on the old plan. Any of them have to have 50 vehicle count. Right now, we're doing vehicle counts of approximately 90. And so there's a lot of them in there. We have well over 100 miles of.
So subdivision wise, that doesn't play into it?
No, sir. Lots don't count.
Okay,
Houses and traffic count is what counts.
right,
So just because it has lots, that's not taken into.
right. I think there's 5 houses, or the next, with the other ones, there's probably 12 houses. So we probably have 50 a day.
But
How do we put a counter on there to figure out how many?
VDOT does it every so often.
Okay. All right, that's all.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Board of Supervisors.
Good evening.
I'm Brenda Walker. I'm here representing Highway 757, All Goods Lane. Some of you may be familiar with it. It is a dead-end road, but we have been trying to get this road, something done to it since the 80s. We've been on the plan many, many times, and every time it's just fell through. I've lived on this road since 1975, and it's been on that 6-year plan with nothing done. We have a lot of residents, probably 13-plus families on that road. Also, there are 20-plus landowners on that road. School buses go down it every day, along with UPS, FedEx, a regular mailman. They've gotten stuck on this road. It's enough, I think the state owns enough property or land there without having to buy any additional land. And we would just like for someone to look into it. And when traveling Mecklenburg County, I know there are several roads that have been fixed over the years. One of them is Twin Peaks Road. That's one from Whiteman Road over to Traffic Road, and that doesn't have nearly the traffic on it that we have. The Greenmore Road, that was fixed. That was a dead-end road. So we certainly would appreciate all the help and support that we could get for fixing this road. And we have about 8 members on that, about 8 families represented tonight. So thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment?
Yes, you may.
To answer that question, when I first come on this secondary road committee, we had a 6-year plan, not that I did it, the group did it, but we had a 6-year plan, but it was list of roads, but it wasn't no money to do the roads.
Right.
Today, we don't put nobody on the 6-year plan unless we got money, and that All Good Lane is, we got money this time, so
Right, and that's
something's
what
gonna
I saw.
happen.
I saw it in the newspaper, so I really got excited. I
Right.
thought maybe this would be our 6 years.
Something's gonna happen.
But I've been waiting for a long, long time, and I know a lot of the other property owners that live at the very end have really been waiting a long time.
We got the money in the bank this time.
And we have even state employees, retired state employees have been waiting and been promised this would be done.
What is the timeline on these roads, Tommy, that's on the list? What's the timeline? I know it's a 6-year plan, but you probably get some of them quicker than that, won't you?
Like 2 miles.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. 757.
This was on the list when Tommy Herbert was here.
Right.
He worked for us, and we even did petitions and sent all that information in to the highway department, and it's just,
Still, the problem is they can only do so many roads a year with state forces. So you're looking at minimum of 4 or 5 years to get down to that road. I mean, that's a minimum time frame.
Yeah, maybe 3. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, it's just,
sure.
you know, as I told you all before, we have to do that balance between maintenance and construction.
Right.
But not 40.
Right.
and not 6 dog years, right?
That's right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, board members, county officials, my name is Barry W. Simmons Sr., resident of 1465 Bowers Road. I want to commend y'all for putting Bowers Road back on the list. It was on the list a number of years ago and was taken off, and now it's back on the list. We've lived there. I've lived back there since the late 80s. My family is there. My daughter has a home there. My granddaughter and her husband are getting ready to build a home there. The dirt road is dirt, and it's in, as much as VDOT tries to keep it up, it's hard to keep that road up. So I would like to, again, thank the board for getting that on the list, endorse the listing, and hopefully that can be done as soon as possible. A brief historical note, no disrespect to the Bowers, but the historic name of that road is Tabbs Road. And if you see all the old 1860 state maps, and we still call ourselves Tabb Road when I tell people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Matt Clark. I live on, actually, I have 2 dirt roads I need to discuss. I would like to know, is Camp Road, State Route 775 on that list? How do I have to go about getting that on it? It's been on that 6-year plan we're talking about for 30 years. I know the traffic count at one time was way over the 50, and I'm sure it's close to it now.
I'm trying to remember, was that one that had dropped below 50 times?
Well, I'm sure when they did away with the school, when they closed Buckhorn School, it would have got close. But at that point, it was 6 buses that went down it every day, plus all the parents dropping the kids off. And the other one is the Greenwood Road. I bought a lot, and I live at the last house on Greenwood Road, too. So I'm really interested in seeing what it would take to get both of those back on the list.
Well, I mean, all I can tell you is the list goes back and forth from next highest road count to where they were on the old list.
They haven't put a counter on, I know, Camp Road in 10 years.
2017, 15 to 17 is when they last ran through the county. Am I right, correct, Tommy?
Yeah, but I can look at the last count was on the left lane was 4, and it's still on the old list, Camp Road.
But it doesn't qualify. We couldn't even do it right now based upon the road count. It has to have 50 to even qualify.
And we would do it out of town.
Big folk walking up on the right. Gotta go there, run over there to count some more. No, that don't work either sometimes.
I will tell you, if you do that, sir, they actually put people out in the woods and actually watch the cars go by.
That's
You
right.
see if the same car is going back and forth,
That's
and
right.
then they discount all of it.
No, they're not doing these.
Hi, good evening. I'm Suzanne Burhans, 2321 Stanton River Road, down by the boat launch. My husband and I are here tonight. We built a house about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And it's a dirt road, gravel road. And I understand that the Virginia DOT made the recommendation for 699 or Stanton River Road to be paved within this 6-year plan. Is that right? Okay. So my reason for being here is to just give some positive input in paving that road. And one of the things of the road is the truck, trailer, boats that come down the road all weekend long, constantly, and when there's tournaments, and it's the more that VDOT repairs and puts stone and whatever they spray on the roads is wonderful for a day or two, and then it kind of dissipates. So I'm very happy. I hope you all approve that for this evening. Thank you. The other question I have is, because of all the boating and traffic down that road, we have a very difficult time with garbage, and my husband and I go up and down the road with bags and pick up a lot of plastic, empty bottles. We also go down to the Army Corps Beach, and we clean that up as well. I've been in touch with Kathy Cross regarding getting some more trash cans down there. I was wondering if the county would put any trash cans along the road, and if maybe they would provide any signage to remind people to please take care of our environment. And, we live there, and so does all the wildlife, and it would be wonderful if the county could do something like that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board. My name is Marguerite Smith. I'm
Good evening.
from Greenwood Road. I'm here with a couple other neighbors echoing that we don't like our cars dirty, as you don't. As other taxpayers, for those who are getting their roads paved, congratulations. For those who haven't been on the list, we like just to know how that list got selected and when you can get on the list. Because Greenwood is not even on the list, if I understand correctly.
I'm going to address that again. It goes back and forth between road count and the 2005 list. So
Okay.
it goes back and forth between those. That's how the board decided. There was some discussion about just doing highest road count, and then you had other people who'd been on the list for 20 years, and they felt that was improper, so that's why it goes back and forth. And that's the order it's going back and forth in.
And the highest road count would have to be what, like 50
That's the minimum road count.
per day?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Again, Greenwood, 750.
Yeah, what is it?
How long have you been living on Greenwood?
I've been there 10 years now, and I have a history here from childhood from my grandmother, so I've been here for a while paying taxes. Just like everybody else, we're interested in keeping our cars clean. So I don't want to take up more than my 3 minutes, but I'm going to echo what everyone else is going to get up here and echo, is that, of course, as you know, we just want to be on the list or find out how we can get on the list to get more traffic in and out, because also on Greenwood, we have a lot of hunters coming down. We also, which I heard another young lady say, we're also a dead end. Does that have any effect as to how you get on the list? Because we run into the lake and it's a dead stop. So there's no concern with that. Doesn't affect how, okay. Okay, and there's no plans for getting on the list?
There's no more money.
For the next 6 years, the 6-year plan?
There's no more money unless the VDOT gives us more money next year.
Okay,
It's an allocation by year, so there's no more money available.
okay. Per year, okay, well, let's hope the infrastructure plan goes through.
Thank you.
Each one. Yeah. I just, man, the last count was in, July, the Virgils.
Sure.
Yes, the last count was, November 15th of 19, and it was 40 vehicles a day.
Okay, so 2019?
Yes, 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
My name is Della Jordan, and I'm just here to reiterate what everyone else has said. I live on Greenwood Road. Moved from Halifax County to Mecklenburg County 28 years ago, June 20th. And I tell my husband all the time, if I knew that I would be living on a dirt road for 28 years, I wouldn't have came down here. It's no fun having your vehicles dusty, folks writing "wash me" on it. You open the doors and you got dirt all up in the inside. You're getting dirt on your clothes. I mean, I hate it. I just have to say I hate it. And I've talked to Wayne, and I've been told the squeaky wheel gets the oil. If I had known that 28 years ago, I complained to people, but evidently I didn't complain to the right people. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, so I want the oil to get the wheel to get some oil now. Because it's no fun having nice vehicles and you go up the road. I live a mile down a dirt road. I hate it. It's just no fun. Dirt in your yard, dirt on your house. If you raise the window, dirt coming up in your house. I've never seen a county that has so many dirt roads. And it's like, I know you have to have 50 people going up and down the road. But some of the roads that's hard service don't have 50 people going up and down the road. And it's not fair.
I understand. We like you said, the state gives us a certain amount of money, and we, try to spread that out as best we can on these roads. So,
I mean, the VDOT does come down and spray that stuff that they spray. It used to be on a regular basis, but it's not as on a regular basis now. And I've stopped them, and I told them, I said, just put some tar. You ain't got to do like the hard surface. Just put some tar or something to make the dust stay down. But my husband can tell you, Jay Jordan can tell you, I hate, and I've told him, I hate living on a dirt road. And he's caught it. And it's not his fault. But like I said, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. And I sure hope that we can get some oil on Greenwood Road. Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else?
Since we're talking about, my name is Joe Church from South Hill. I've lived in South Hill for about 43 years now, Mecklenburg County. Since we're talking about roads, I had written a letter to the Board of Supervisors, Wayne, about the trash along our roads. One other lady mentioned it here, and I didn't get any response from anybody on that letter, and kind of upset me because I'm a taxpayer. I pay a good deal of tax, as a matter of fact, and I didn't appreciate not being answered. And I noticed in the budget you have on page 157, capital grounds, building and grounds capital outlay of $13,883,536. And why can't somebody clean the trash alongside the roads? Just doesn't make any sense. People coming in here from the outside, all of my friends have mentioned it to me, and that's one of the reasons why I'm up here tonight. So I'd like to have some kind of a program, fines, do anything, signs, fines, I don't care what it is. The county is becoming a disgrace on the side of roads. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Seeing no one, I declare the public hearing on the VDOT 6-year plan to be closed. So, Board, we need to adopt the plan. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, like to make a motion that we accept the 6-year plan that we have got here before us and accept that, please.
All right, you've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. All right. Next, we have a landfill committee report. Mr. Wilkinson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Landfill Committee met on Monday, June 14, 2021 at 5 p.m. in the Board of Supervisors meeting room. Members present, myself, Chairman, David Brinkley, Jim Jennings, Claudia Lundy. Also present, Glenn Barber, Glancy Spain, Charles Jones, Andy Hargrove, Wayne Carter, County Administrator. Mr. Wilkinson called the meeting to order. Mr. Carter reviewed the 3 bids received for construction of the Penn Road Convenience Center. The lowest bid was received from J.R. Price Construction at a cost of $710,915.50. J.R. Price Construction failed to comply with the bid requirements by including a bid bond in his submission, and therefore his bid was thrown out. The next lowest bid was received from Smiley's Construction at a cost of $727,649. Upon a motion of Mr. Brinkley, the committee voted unanimously to recommend award of the Penn Road Convenience Center construction to Smiley's Construction at a cost of $727,649. And I'd like to pause right there, Mr. Chairman, and make that in the form of a motion to the full board.
Okay. All right. You've heard the motion. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Brinkley requested Mr. Carter send a letter to the adjoining property owner on Sullivan Road that we will clean up his land this fall. Mr. Wilkinson asked for gravel at the substation site on Route 903. There being no further business, the meeting was adjourned. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. By the way, folks, we'd love to have you stay. You're more than welcome to stay, but if you feel like you need to leave, by all means, feel free to go. And thank you all for coming again, too. All right, next we have a report on the Legislative Committee. Mr. Tanner.
Mr. Chairman, the Legislative Committee met on Monday, June 14th, 2021 at 5:45 at the Board of Supervisors meeting room in Boyden. Members present were Tom Tanner, Chairman, Andy Hargrove, Claudia Lundy, Jim Jennings. Others present, Glenn Barber, David Brinkley, Charles Jones, Glancy Spain, Sterling Wilkerson, Wayne Carter, County Administrator, Judy Sheffield, Assistant County Administrator. The chairman called the meeting to order. Mr. Hendrick presented proposed fees for erosion and sediment control fees. He has checked with neighboring counties which range from $25 to $145 for single-family homes and $200 per month for commercial solar within the completion date, $400 for each month after the proposed completion date. Ms. Lundy voiced concerns on charging a high residential fee when none had been charged previously. She felt that $100 would be too high for an initial fee. Upon a motion by Mr. Hargrove, the committee unanimously recommends charging $50 for single-family homes and $200 per month for commercial/solar projects through the proposed completion date of the project and $400 per month thereafter. The matter will be taken to a public hearing in July with an enactment August 1st, 2021. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. We take this to the public hearing in July.
Okay. You've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, sir. Next, economic development, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Chairman, Economic Development Committee met on Monday, June 14th, 2021 at 5:15 in the Board of Supervisors Meeting Room, Borden, Virginia. Members present, Charles Jones, Chairman, Clancy Spain, Jim Jennings, and Tom Tanner. Others present, Glenn Barber, David Brankley, Sterling Wilkinson, Claudia Lundy, Andy Hargrove, Angie Kellett, Economic Development Director, Wayne Carter, County Administrator. Chairman called the meeting to order. Ms. Kellett reviewed a proposal from Timmons for an industrial site search. This project would take about 6 months to complete. It would include identifying multiple sites of 100 acres or more for future development. This is being processed through an existing contract with VGA. There will be a stakeholder group formed to include the county sheriff, VDOT, utility representatives, and regional partners. The cost of this project is $97,500. Upon a motion by Mr. Spain, the committee voted unanimously to accept the proposal for Timmons Group for the industrial site search at a cost of $97,500. Committee members Jones, Spain, Tanner, and Jennings voted aye. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion that we approve this.
All right. You've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Upon a motion by Mr. Jennings, the committee convened in closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A. Committee members Jones, Spain, Tanner, and Jennings voted aye. Upon a motion by Mr. Spain, the committee went back into open session. Committee members Jennings, Tanner, Spain, and Jones voted aye. Upon a motion by Mr. Tanner, the committee adopted the following certification resolution. Committee members Tanner, Spain, Jennings, and Jones voted aye. Certification of closed session. Whereas the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors convened a closed session on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors that such closed session was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed sessions to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public meeting matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered by the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors. Vote. Tanner, aye. Spain, aye. Jones, aye. Jennings, aye. No further business in this committee, and committee was adjourned.
All right. Thanks, sir. Okay, so we will hear now from our school superintendent, Mr. Nichols, on a new school update. Good evening, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
I've got you.
Oh, you got it. Oh, great. Okay, so our regular monthly update is available, and if you move it to the full screen. That one. Oh, go back. Nope, next one. Next one. Farthest one over.
One more.
That one. There. So this is progress as of June the 14th of 2021. Another month has gone by with a lot of progress going on. We can move on to the next page. We will be looking at construction schedule, budget, and some progress photos. Construction, current progress, steel erection is in place. The first floor administration is complete. Decking continues for the second floor and the middle school classrooms. The second deck slab for the floor has been poured in all of the high school classrooms. The PVC roofing is in progress over the entire career and technical education area. Plumbing, electrical, fire suppression are ongoing in the high school classrooms and the CTE wing. Ductwork is being pressure tested in the cafeterias. Asphalt paving has resumed. We can now drive all the way around the school and down into the areas where the athletic portions are. You're finally being able to look in the back part of it at the high school athletic facility and see progress that looks actually like football fields, baseball fields, and softball fields. The force main is in progress, and you might have noticed, I think all the piping is now in place from all the way to Boyden, and is the actual building for the sump pump is being built down by the road for us. And then the construction on the middle school athletic field is nearing completion. We are, go back a little bit. The budget is still right at $109,807,295. We still have owner direct purchasing going on. That is continuing to save us significant money. And the gym flooring will be going in soon for consideration. This is the latest aerial view of the site. If you look at it specifically, you'll be able to see over on the far left-hand corner what I mentioned as the track and the football, soccer field. In the middle school area, there are 2 practice fields between that and the school, and then the softball field and baseball field are actually going on. Just north of the softball field is an area where a lot of the excess rock and so forth has been, but there's a small section right there that begins the whole part for the agricultural component that will go all the way around the back end of the building to the fields on the far right of the program. Then you can see the schools, and you can see that the roofing and most all of the components of the first section with the gyms, the cafeterias on both middle school and high school are complete. There is roofing over the high school section, and then as we move across the second floor of the middle school is being built. So there's significant progress being made from the aerial view. A few more pictures that we have in place. This is a closer view of the actual building itself. I think everybody loves to ride by there and see that huge crane that's there. It's always in process of moving from one place to another, but it's getting the job done, and that's what counts. This is pretty much complete middle school as far as the air conditioning units on the roof, the roofing component, the bricks being in place. And then beside it, you can see the area where a lot of work is being done on the middle school cafeteria and even into the auditorium component. This is, of course, the aerial view of the middle school baseball field. Fence posts are up, and the infield is looking much like a baseball field should look, and so we're very thankful for that, plus the concrete for the dugouts. You can see the ductwork and framing in the middle school cafeteria. That's coming along very, very well. We're looking forward to meetings taking place in there. And then moving on from there, yes, looking down the middle school main corridor, you can see where the top floor or second floor huge hall, main hall, will be put in, and some of the steps are being put in. So here we have the force main sump pump structure being set in, and the building, of course, will then be going around that. So good progress continuing to take place. Main wiring from the transformer to the central utility platform is being put in as well. We have a year left before the buildings are supposed to be complete. We're on target financially as well as on time for the building to be completed. Any questions? I will share that this week we did have, I was a part of the state meeting on school construction. There is significant need that's being recognized all over the Commonwealth of Virginia and throughout the nation. We are very pleased that this will put Mecklenburg County at the forefront of throughout the state, because they made statements such as Like 60% of the schools throughout the rural areas of Virginia and some of the urban areas were built in the 50s or even as early as the 30s. So you can be very pleased and proud of the fact that as we put this in place and then look at the elementary schools, we will be at the forefront of what's becoming significant focus for the state. And we're very thankful for all of your support. Any questions?
Questions?
Mr. Nichols, one question on it. I know we had seen something involving the busing, that you were having to double up on some bus routes and stuff like that. Do you see that as continuing to be an issue once the new school opens, and kind of what are y'all doing to help remedy some of that? I know bus drivers have been hard to come by, but.
Well, you probably have heard me state before, a good majority of our bus drivers are over 65. We have one bus driver that's been with us for many years. She's 89 years old. She might be 90 years old by now. And the favor that we have for her is that she knows the parents, the grandparents, the great-grandparents, and sometimes the great-great-grandparents of these students, and knows where to go if they behave or misbehave to work with them. But COVID was very hard on our drivers. We've lost about 40% of our drivers for next year. We are advertising extensively. It's not a problem that is unique to Mecklenburg County. It's all over the state. We are advertising. The good news about doubling up on our routes, which means we will have the secondary school start early, and then the elementary will come back. There was a lot of debate about which would be better because there is data that shows that secondary school students seem to perform better if they come in later as opposed to elementary. However, the time schedule that we have, because we are a large county, as you all very well know, and we run down practically every road in Mecklenburg County, whether it's dirt or rock or whatever it is, we've got buses on them. So we have had the privilege of being able to run at the same time, but we'll run this way. The reason we chose the secondary first is primarily because to have put the elementary first would mean that some children would be out waiting for buses at 6 a.m. That's too early, particularly in the winter. And the other reason is because starting later for middle and high school would mean that the students would not be finishing with their school day until 4. And for athletics and after-school activities like our workforce development program, that just wouldn't give them the time to do what needed to be done, particularly with longer games. So it would be our goal. We are recruiting bus drivers as we speak, but there's a lot that would need to be done. I expect to be able to find more because it pays well for the time that you're working, but it's not a job for everybody.
Are you using some of your CARES money, since does seem to be COVID related, to help with this situation?
Well, we are using CARES money in every area that we can find that's appropriate to use it. And we are using CARES money for some areas that our regular budget would pay for, and so we can use our regular budget for other options that are there. So all of those are avenues that we are pursuing, yes. Hopefully we'll be able to get back, but it's going to depend entirely on how many people we can recruit.
What were the start times for the elementary or the middle and high school? I forgot. I'm sure they've been posted, but I'm just curious.
We will be starting, I'll have to get back and look. Right now, on top of my head, I don't know that I can tell you what those accurately might be, but they are, I can get that for you.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, Mr. Carr?
Yes, sir. You have the building inspector's report. New houses are down compared to what they have been, but we have a lot in the pipeline. You do have a new building permit for Microsoft, the Timber Campus. You've got zoning permits. Any questions on any of those? Animal warden's report for the month of May. Any questions on that one? Majority were either adopted back out to the owners or to the SPCA. You have the sheriff report, summonses of 180, and you have their businesses checked, calls for service. We have VDOT's report. Tom is here if you have any questions. Y'all started mowing any of the secondaries yet, Tommy?
Good evening again. I'll be real brief. First of all, I'd like to, thank the staff and the Secondary Roads Committee for the work on the 6-year plan. I think it's unprecedented. We got 19.76 miles on the plan for rural Russia construction, and we have the funding for it. And we're looking forward to, giving you this plan, putting it in place. And to answer Mr. Jennings, I can't give you the exact time frame right now. Once we get the program and the money into each individual road and put it in the plan, we'll share that with you.
And the weather has a lot of effect on that.
Yeah. For the mowing, yes, secondary mowing started today. We had been doing some safety mowing at intersections prior to the Memorial Day holiday, but the secondary mowing started today. We've been doing primary mowing since June 1st. So mowing is on the way. The February ice storm cleanup is wrapping up as we speak. You might have seen some surface treatment work. Whitehurst Paving is doing the surface treatment of the roads in the county. They have got a few more to do, then they'll be wrapping up. And the bridge deck replacement project on Route 710, Loose Endless Dirt Road, is going well and is scheduled to be completed by July 2nd. Thank you.
The litter patrol.
Sir?
The litter patrol on various routes. One of the gentlemen earlier has stated, how much trash was on the side of the roads. I forgot which road it was. Are they expanding out any further now than the main corridors or?
Yeah, I didn't know that question was going to come up. I provided Mr. Tanner some information. Because he specifically asked, I can give you some more, but we picked up all of the primary roads before we cut the grass. And as I was driving up here tonight, I mean, you got some places that you can't tell it. But anyway, I'd get back with you on the number of bags we picked up on the primary roads in Mecklenburg County and the high volume secondaries prior to mowing.
Well, I know you had told us earlier in another meeting that you don't actually, VDOT doesn't actually do that. They hire.
Well, we have a contractor. We pay for it. It comes out of our budget.
Right.
Yes, we pay for it because, with the problem with the prison system and all, we hadn't had any inmates in over 14 months. And that was a primary job that we used for inmate labor was litter pickup. So, now we are paying a contractor to do it because, our guys can only do so much. Now, we do some. Our guys pick up some litter, but, we're going to have another cycle here before long on some trouble rates. So, we already got a list. The area superintendents, they're continuing to giving us a list. And as long as it's money in the fund, we're going to continue to do it. So, but, it's a problem statewide. Not only here, just like the school buses. You see it every day. I'm sure y'all do too. But we're doing all we can do. We need some help from the Adopter Highway people. The Clarksville area up where you're from, they got some very active groups, and when we let them know the problems, and they're out there. And I'm not going to say the names because I might get them wrong, but it's Cow Road, Bull Road, out that way. They're but it is an issue. We'll be glad to work with you all on it, however you decide to tackle it. But, we pick it up. We pick up the primary at least twice a year before we mow, and the high volume secondaries, which is 903.
All right.
Tommy, when y'all first, did VDOT do the Adopt a Highway thing? Is that part of VDOT? Who did that?
Well, we have a coordinator. I have a coordinator that works in our office, and it kind of adopted the VDOT Adopt a Highway and the Beautify Virginia thing. They all work together. If anybody wants any information, I can get you or anybody information. We got it like right many groups that do it and pick it up at least twice a year. I got stuff sitting on the counter now for somebody to pick up, bags where they.
I know when it
call
first
up.
come out, it really jumped on, people really jumped on that and, when the program started, but I just wonder if some way we can initiate that and kind of let the public out there know that we're looking for that and, make a little drive in that direction. Cause I thought it really did a good job when it first come out.
Right. You want me to get with you and work through secondary roads? Or, I got a coordinator, that got all the information, the packages and everything, the rules and regulations, what we provide and what they do.
Yeah, that's fine. And we, just kind of get it out there and let people know that we're looking for people to do that.
Yeah. And we put out press releases, our communications office puts out stuff, about it, urging people, especially in the spring.
Right.
To adopt a road, or adopt a spot, pick up a road or whatever. But I get you some info.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good evening.
Thanks.
Next, you have the report from Southside Behavioral Health. We have two 2232 plan reviews. Both of these were recommended denied by the Planning Commission. The applicants in both cases, Gordon Brothers Farm and Garnett and Herman have appealed their decision of the Planning Commission. That means you all will have a public hearing on the 2232 review next month. We'll have in there the recommendations again from the Planning Commission as to the reasons why they denied, and then y'all can determine whether y'all want to approve them or not. One thing that's been brought up was new CARES fund money. Mr. Tanner's asked if we have any ideas of how to spend it. You've got coming to you about 5.9 million, separate from what the towns have. Between them, they have about another 5 million all told. The schools, I think, are getting another 12 million. 11 and a half. Okay. There's some big projects you can use it for this time. We've pretty well bought the smaller stuff, the things that are up front before. One of the big subjects, of course, is broadband. Another is, I know the school, you can use it for new school construction or renovation of existing facilities.
Some parts,
Yes.
but mainly for things like air conditioning and safety features that we have put in the existing schools, have planned for the high school, and then we are looking at for the newest section of the elementary.
So, you've got some things like that. Y'all need to kind of think about it because you don't have to spend this till the end of 2024. But, so you do have some time this time, unlike in the past. And what y'all want to come up with as a long-term goal. You can use it for different kinds of infrastructure, utilities, et cetera. We're not in the utility business. So main things for us would be schools, broadband. Some of yours also can be used for new school construction because if you were replacing existing HVAC systems that could get more turnover, et cetera, there's a way you can fund it through it. You just have to tie it to a specific part of the process. So that's something that you all need to think about. I don't know whether y'all want to discuss that now, how y'all want to deal with it.
Is that something you can share all the guidance with everybody? Because I know some of the stuff that could still be done in it was some of the stuff that we had done before, like to some of the food banks and stuff like that was still included in it.
And we still have some existing money in our existing CARES funds. John's finishing that up, he and Jesse are, and then we'll come up with how much we have left. The original funding is more stringent in its requirements. Broadband can be used on that one. School construction is not one of the things. You can tie some, I think, you might be able to tie something in with some HVAC systems in that one, but again, you had to tie it back into COVID-related expenditures versus the second batch is much more open in what it can be used for.
Can we work on the one in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just figured out.
You have to tell me that.
Yeah.
We
got some projects.
When the problem with this wall is when that brick gets so hot when it's 90 degrees in the afternoons, it starts to cook, and once the system ever gets behind in here, it takes it all night to cool back down.
I know, I just wanted to pick on you a little bit.
This is the one we just replaced?
Yes, sir.
That's the one you denied the $100,000.
You want to do it now, but one of the main things that we're doing is dealing with
be able to have that end date go from 24 to 25 to give us a little bit more time.
So that is something we need to start looking at so that we can come up with, I'll send out, there's some basically broad categories, but it's a lot more infrastructure this time.
And I know broadband is really important
Broadband
to
is really
everybody.
important.
I mean,
I have
that's-
been in discussions with
I'd say that's
Mecklenburg
the top
Electric with regards to some things that they're looking at trying to do here. So we hopefully be presenting that back to you all in the next few months.
Very good.
Dominion Energy proposed power line expansion, currently to serve the existing, currently, it was two twin 115s that ran all the way from Chase City to the dam, and then from the dam down into Carolina, crossing over Route 1 next to the Carolina border. 3 years ago, Dominion replaced the poles, the lines, and everything, and put the twin 115 KVs on one pole on the northeast side of that right-of-way, planning that one day, if they needed to, for the expansions at Microsoft, they could put in a 230. They are now looking at putting in a 230 line. That does take State Corporation Commission approval, unlike the 115s. They would go back in the existing line, except at 3 spots. They would need a little bit bigger easement. Nowhere on the line at the expanded right-of-way number 10, that's property owned by the IDA. At the expanded up next to number 12, those are 4 private property owners. They are only looking at taking some trees. They are not looking at taking any houses. They're just looking at an easement so that they'll have an expanded right-of-way right there for the 230 line. We are requesting, staff is, a letter of support for the line for the expansion. This will help us as we continue to grow the data centers we have in the Boynton area. We need more electricity.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we send a letter to support this project.
Okay, all right. We have a motion to write a letter in support of the project. Any discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Next, Sandra came to me Thursday. We would like to open a second account at First Citizens, basically using our existing checking, keeping that, but taking excess funds and moving them into the separate account. Everyone's got our checking account. When you write a check, everybody's got that. Because of fraud and things of that nature, especially cyber fraud, we feel like this would be safer. We'll keep the majority of our money in that account, transferring it over into the basic checking account as we need it. But everybody from schools, et cetera, is all on one account, a base account with prefixes on the front end. So this would actually give us more safekeeping for our funds. We'll keep it at First Citizens. That way we can just transfer it back and forth.
So,
But we can't open an account without your permission.
all right. So, you think keeping it in the same bank is okay? I mean, as far as,
I do, as far as we're just opening up a separate account because all of our checks are written out of this one account. We would have a separate account that we can put bulk money in. And that way there would be no access to it because we wouldn't write checks off of it or anything like that.
so if you needed to move some of that money somewhere, you just do it through an interbank transfer of some type? Okay. Okay.
Just that old saying about don't put all your eggs in one
Right, yeah, no kidding.
Got them all in one basket.
Right.
I'll make a motion that we determine that we're opening a second account for that purpose.
Okay. You've heard that motion. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Last, Roanoke River Rails to Trails. We have Jim and Erica back here. They have a proposal on, if you remember a few months back, we applied for a grant for a new trail from Trailhead on Skipworth Road.
Correct.
And then we've had some other discussions. They've got an update on what part of the grant we were approved for.
That's right. So, good evening.
Good
evening. Last time we were here, we were talking about building a trailhead between Park Drive and Skipworth Road, and then eventually developing a trail from Skipworth Road to Runs Creek, which would be the first segment of the Tobacco Heritage Trail that connects to the lake. Unfortunately, we did not get that grant award. It was a very competitive year. We even applied a second time, and they even had even more responses the second time. and the majority of them were trails. So we do have another grant funding opportunity. One of them is for the VDOT Transportation Alternatives Grant, which is, we've used the VDOT grant a lot for trail segments, and we've been pretty successful with them from our office. It's a reimbursement grant with an 80-20 match. And so we kind of thought of some different scenarios of how to help you get that match. There's another grant through DCR called the Rails and the Recreation and Trails Conservation Grant. And so that actually can act as a match, even though that's federal dollars as well. So what the two grants would be doing would be constructing the trail itself from Skipwith Road to Ruts Creek. It would plan, design, construct it. Because it is federal money, there are a few more restrictions on reviews and fees that go along with VDOT. We did have an engineer from Hurt and Profit who was kind enough to give us a cost estimate. So the total estimate for the full project that they gave us was $1,635,371.50. So with that, that would be the total project number, and then we would propose going to DCR for the match, which would be $328,000. That is a really, Jimmy and I were talking, that's a very high estimate. There are some ways that we can cut that back. One of which was he was anticipating having a crosswalk at Skipwith Road. We can not do anything with the trailhead at this time and just put some parking spaces on the west side of Skipwith Road, so you just park and then get on the trail. And then maybe later on, we can go to some local funds, or we're still hopeful that Senator Ruff might be able to.
Yeah, we've approached Senator Ruff and Delegate Wright as well, and they have gone to their finance committees supporting this. There is some money that came forward for trails. Originally, they identified $250,000 for this trail. That language was taken out of the bill. We're still working with the Finance Committee to try to ensure that that money comes to this part of the trail as it was intended. This estimate that came in is a pro bono estimate. There are some items that we still question about it. For example, they're talking base rock coming in. That is an old railroad bed. I think there's plenty of base rock there. There might be a couple of areas that were washed out that need repair, but I don't think it needs base rock all along the 2.5 miles of trail there. So we'll have to put out other bids and we'll look at it to get those costs down. But we do have a way with these two grants to go forward on.
And so with these two grants, they do want to see protection of the land. So very similar to the last time when we were the Outdoors Foundation, they want to see that the lands are protected and dedicated to conservation of space. So for this one, similar to last time, we could do one of two ways, but they would want to see Mecklenburg County as the applicant be in control of the land. So either with complete ownership of that trail segment, which is 2 miles, roughly 2 miles, or an open space easement, which you had agreed to at the last meeting. The other part of it is that they want to see a commitment to maintaining that segment of the trail. They're going to put the funds to develop it and construct it. They want to see a commitment that it will be maintained, and they want to see somewhat of a maintenance plan. It doesn't have to be anything concrete that's in effect when we submit the applications, but they do want to see that there is a commitment to maintain the trail once it's developed.
I would tell you that probably grass cutting, I'll be sending y'all out a letter from Tina. She went out in the original trail from La Crosse to Broadnecks. The towns agreed to maintain it. If you remember when Jimmy was here last asking about the other grant, that you stated that we want the localities to start maintaining their sections that they're in. So Tina had gone out and gotten bids to maintain from La Crosse to Broadnecks. Currently, Broadnecks has been cutting it for free the last X number of years, but we don't feel that's really fair to them. They're small, limited budget, everything else. So we did get bids. Theirs is the cheapest at $8,500, but a private contractor looking at cutting, that's a 3-mile section.
Pretty close, yeah.
$25,000. So that's roughly what you're annually. It's roughly what you're probably going to be, because you got to go back every year, limit it all up, come back in, cut around all the grass, 3 miles. You're going to probably end up spraying on the roadways, et cetera, the surfaces, trying to get the grass out of that. et cetera. So that's what you'd probably have to look at if you agree to do this grant, is an annual appropriation of somewhere between $10,000 and $25,000. I'd say closer to the latter. And then down the road, and we don't know when that is, you'll have to go in every so many years and re-maintain the surface. Now, I think y'all are still looking at doing stone.
Correct, and I did some research. I've spoken to Jennifer Wimpler at DCR, and she shared some information about operational costs for the new river trail, which would be the same surface as this proposed segment of the trail. They are looking about $10,000 per mile annually. So if this is a 2-mile trail, it'll be about $20,000 annually. Now, the new river trail is, of course, traveled. It's used for biking, and I think it's going to be traveled a lot more than this trail would be traveled. So you do get, there's a little bit of a difference there. She did also say, because I asked, how often do you resurface? What they do is they just resurface as needed. That way it's not a one big bulk where we just resurface the entire trail at one time. They just do it as needed, and that's incorporated in that $10,000 per mile.
So y'all, if you want to apply for this grant, you're basically saying in the future, you're gonna put around $25,000 into this park. We're also gonna have to have money for the trail from across the Broadnecks. But that's a separate issue. I think we can find the money in our budget to do that one, but this would be separate. You wouldn't have to have any of it in this year's budget because you've got to actually apply, get it, build it, et cetera, so it'll be next year.
Correct. And
When is this grant due?
So the DCR grant, which would be the match, is due at the end of the month, June 30th. The VDOT grant, which only becomes available every 2 years. So we're a little bit more limited with the VDOT grant. That application isn't due until October 1st. The pre-application, which isn't binding, it's just saying you're interested in the funds, is due July 1. So you could go for both of them, and if the DCR doesn't come through, you can just not do the VDOT, or vice versa.
Because I think what I talked to Wayne about the section from between La Crosse and Broadnecks was just basically from the corporate limits of La Crosse to the corporate limits of Broadnecks is what I think he was discussing down there. And I know that things such as trails and stuff like that are important to companies and stuff that locate here. People are always looking for something to do outdoors, and I think it's a good project if we can figure out a reasonable maintenance cost on it. But like I said, it's what we need to discuss to see if before they can apply for it, if we're
But what is
willing
it,
to.
a 4 or 5 year commitment? Did I read that somewhere?
Forever.
No, the maintenance would be forever.
I thought I saw something about, for us to sign, for us to take it over.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, it would just, you would be taking over the maintenance part on this
I
section
mean, not
of
that you'd
trail.
abandon it, I just thought I saw it.
And this section would be the packed rock dust type of surface. The one in La Crosse is asphalt.
Right.
So that's the biggest difference in the two.
Well, you see the one in the town where you're talking about La Crosse, the Broadnecks, the kind of like little towns, people kind of living right up on top of each other. I can understand them using the trail, but, I look at this and it's, from Park Drive to Skipper Road, being out in a more of a rural area. I mean, maybe somebody got a statistic or something, how much out there in that rural area that will be used?
Well, the head count that we had on the 22 miles in Brunswick County, they were averaging over 90 people a day for a 30-day period last April. Part of that was, of course, during the pandemic, people were wanting to get out, and this was used by a lot of people. We do have an Ironman event coming down from Richmond in September, and they estimate that's going to bring 200 people, 200 contestants down to run that Ironman as it goes. And a lot of the rails to trails throughout the state and throughout the region are seeing more and more usage as they become known to each other. They're expanding the trails. The New River Trail's expanding. Shenandoah is getting a new trail. Northern Virginia, they're throwing money at it right and left. It does help tourism. It does bring money in. The tourism committee here for the county has grown because of the trail in many regards, and I think they have the opportunity to continue to grow. The local grass cutting by the towns, like the town of Boynton, they estimate $1,000 per year just on grass cutting. Now, the cost comes when you have storms like we had, and you get trees down to go across it. You can't find volunteer help to get it, so you get hunt clubs and everybody else to pitch in to get things cleared out to go. That's the way we've been operating as we went. We do have another grant with the National Park Service that starts on 1 August. And with their help, we're going to put together a realistic budget that will look at maintenance, we'll look at crusher run and how often we have to replace it and everything else, and get a nationwide average going so we can have something we can work with here and give you some good information on things.
Mr. Brinkley, I think your concern was that basically this is a dead-end trail that doesn't go anywhere. Does this tie into anything at Rudd's Creek Campground as far as?
It goes into Rudd's Creek at the old crossing there, and we have talked with Corps of Engineers about a trail going down to their campground from there, and the possibility someday of coming in with a sewage line and water line to help them out because that campground has big problems.
And the hope too, if you remember from the build grant, the trouble with crossing 58. The hope would be that if we have an established trail on the west side of 58, that we have logical termini to be able to eventually connect those trails.
So at Rudd's Creek, we would have to have a bridge or something across there to get to the trail?
To continue it on, it would, what I was speaking of
But to
was
get to
tied-
Rudd's Creek, you would, wouldn't you?
Well, to tie it into the campground is what I
Right.
was speaking
So
of.
that's not counted in this money, though.
It would, this
We're
just
not
dead
building a bridge
ends.
yet.
My understanding, by right.
Today is a dead end.
Right, right now it's a dead end.
Wayne, so can the county, endorse these grants without committing for that $25,000 that you're talking about? Can we do that or not? Or contingent upon them?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
When you endorse this grant and you become the applicant, you're then saying, as part of that grant, you are gonna maintain this. So you're saying that at that point in time, whatever those costs are in the future, you are going to fund. I don't think there's any way around that you could do that because the grant says, as Erica told me, she said that's the one thing on these grants. In the past, we've had the towns, but you're gonna have to be the owner for maintenance of those. So that's why I told her we need to come back to you all for this because of the fact that unlike in the past where the grants really didn't discuss maintenance. So it was kind of one of those things that everyone just didn't want to touch and didn't want to have to deal with, so we just ignore it. It'll go away.
I feel like that's happening now too.
No, now it's you can't ignore it. You're actually going to take it on. So that's why it's no longer just going to sit back here. You're going to have to actually say, yes, we're going to do this. And of course, that's one of the conditions of the grant.
It's on the front end, not the back end.
Yeah.
Now, I will ask one other question. What is, as far as the Brunswick section, what is Brunswick contributing as far as the maintenance to it?
Well, Brunswick, when they started out, the majority of the trail was in Brunswick County. And they had a couple of donors that put some money forward and they got a large CD of $125,000. And they've been using that to help them as they need it when issues come up.
One thing also was the towns were requesting the regional jail to send crews in, okay? And this actually happened before the pandemic. There were so many requests to cut the trails that they didn't have time to do other things. Because when you're cutting 23 miles and cutting back limbs, et cetera, so it was a week here, every month they were a week out there. So the actual jail authority board said, we're not going to do that anymore. So that's when I think Brunswick had to go back and start hiring contractors with it because we're not allowing, we did it once or twice here in Boynton also. They brought crews in and did that. But it takes everything, all the work crews in here trying to move all this stuff around and cut and clean. So we're not doing that. So now it's all private. But that's how they did a lot of theirs, if I'm not mistaken.
And with volunteers. We've got 2 hunt clubs that take care of a portion of the trail. We had the Friends of the Roanoke River Rails to Trails. They help out when they can, Boy Scout projects, things like that, to do police calls. I've been out on my bush hog. We do what we can. We're all volunteers. Each county, each town has one representative that we come to a meeting quarterly trying to keep things going. Try to go off of what the sheriff's office tells us, where the problems are.
Who actually owns the trail? Is it a deeded piece of property?
It's a deeded piece of property, it certainly is, and it's owned by the Roanoke River Rails to Trails Incorporated.
Okay.
Parts of it, though, are missing.
There are parts that still belong to the private individuals. The railroad gave the landowners the right to purchase from them when they first put it up for sale. So many landowners did. There are gaps.
Wayne, my understanding, we will be responsible for the maintenance of this for the life of it. And also, if we get this grant, that our part would be $328,000? No, that's
What
not.
we're gonna look at
county
is
match?
the DCR to do the match, you would have no money in the grant. I
Okay.
told Erica when she brought that up, I said, there's no way, we just did a budget 2 weeks ago, there's zero money in there. We do not have $328,000 to put up in this year's budget, so that was a no-go. So that's why she said the DCR grant was what she was looking at going for as the local match.
A question, when you need a decision from this board, yay or nay?
Well, the grant's due the end of this month.
You know, Mr. Chairman, can I say something? Could we support this and contingent upon getting the grants that we do this? Wayne, does that work or not?
I've lost her on that one. Can you restate that so I could?
I don't, I guess it'd be, we would support it. How do we need to do that, Mr.?
I think we was talking about a commitment for the annual support contingent on receipt of the 2 grants. So if the 2 grants don't fund the program, you're not on the hook for the maintenance.
I think that'd be automatic, yes.
Right.
Yes, so the answer is yes. It's trying to help out.
Right, you're
Okay.
just committing to this
Yes.
segment.
I didn't articulate that very well.
So you could have a motion to support, to indicate your support for this project contingent on receipt of the 2 grants that have been presented.
Right, if we don't get both grants, we're not gonna be funding
Yeah.
it no matter what.
I'm kind of happy with that part right there.
Yeah.
If you get them, you're gonna be funding about $25,000 a year.
I mean, we're probably paying $25,000 a year to cut the grass around here.
Not that much, but
It won't miss it much, will it?
Pretty much, yeah, you'd be amazed.
All the government property?
Oh, hell, we
Well,
do.
all the courthouse, all these buildings.
Mr. Chairman, can we put that, I'm gonna put that in the form of a motion that what we just, and the county attorney just talked about. So,
Want to hear it again?
yeah, I want to hear it again.
The board commits to supporting this trail in perpetuity, contingent on receipt of both grants that have been presented to you this evening.
For the construction of it.
So both grants will help us with maintenance?
No, they would build.
In other words, if they don't get the grants, we're not
They don't get the
committed.
grants to build it, we don't have to maintain it.
Right.
Okay.
But it really wouldn't be anything to maintain anyway.
That's why I got lost on that one, okay? It's-
Yeah.
At a future meeting, I think I would like to come back in and give you a big briefing that shows the entire trail and how that ties in with the state's plan and the beaches to bluegrass, which was a master plan just updated 2 years ago, and we are a center part of that as we go.
And I think one thing, Deborah and I did speak, the trail really needs, it's had a part-time coordinator, now you're doing this. Well, we need to sit down with probably the planning district and figure out how to operate this, probably under their something, because they're an organization that does kind of regional projects, and this is crossing all 3 counties ultimately, and have it come under their umbrella, maybe down the road. The trail might not be happy with that, but somebody's got to be in charge of something with the maintenance, et cetera.
I would be happy to get someone permanently in there so the volunteers could back out of the way and get someone.
And I think that's a very good idea. We've got to come up with some kind of umbrella organization that's, for lack of a better word, a long time local government arm or something to maintain this as we're piecemealing it, and we need to come up with a better plan.
Maybe something like an authority?
We're not sure yet. We're gonna have to.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that the county has no liability as it relates to this trail whatsoever. I mean, if somebody gets, God forbid, mugged.
If we don't own
whatever.
it, then all we got is a conservation easement.
We have the insurance, sir, in effect.
Yeah. So we want to do it as a conservation easement, but so that we don't own it from a liability tax purpose. But that-
Take care of the insurance.
Mr. Chairman, can we call for the question here and there?
Yeah, we have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Everybody understand the motion?
Yes, sir.
Lost one member.
We'll be back.
No.
Yeah, take a rain delay.
Oh. All right, well, we'll.
I will just fill in too. It's same thing as with, the maintenance, same thing with the easement as well. You know, the easement is not something we need to draw up until the grants are awarded. So that's not something that we need to do right now either. That can be something too, once we know for sure if we're gonna move forward with the project.
He's back.
All right, so as I say, we do have a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion on that motion?
Read the motion again.
Read it.
Let's read the motion again.
I didn't write it down.
He needs to recite it.
What he said.
You want to repeat it? Okay, the board expresses its commitment to maintaining this section of the trail contingent on receipt of both grants as presented to you this evening.
Okay. Everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
One opposed. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
And thank you for coming on such short notice.
Anything else, Mr. Carl?
No, sir.
All right. Okay, we've got an appointment to consider tonight. Mr. Vin Montgomery, his term on the library board expires June the 30th. This, I believe, would be my district. We have a letter from the director of the library board and asking us to consider Mr. William, is it Vuhes? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't want to mess that name. Anyway, to represent the district. I have no problems with that. So if it pleases the board, I'm going to recommend that we appoint Mr. William Vuhes to represent the South Hill branch of the library effective July 1. Any other discussion on that?
No, sir.
No.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, you've got the RRSA minutes in your packet for your review. We've got two resolutions that the first resolution is honoring Dr. David Brown, who's retiring at the end of the month. He has been working with our rescue squads in the hospital for over 20 years. And so we have a resolution here to recognize him for his efforts. And I think what we need to do tonight is just approve the resolution, and then we'll make a presentation maybe at our next monthly meeting. So I need a motion to approve the resolution honoring Dr. David Brown.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion to adopt the resolution. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Also, as you all know, one of our own, Ms. Odyssey Alexander, was quite a prominent force in the Women's College World Series this year. Made a lot of people fans of that sport that otherwise probably would not be. And so I felt it was appropriate, and Mr. Brankley here has coached this young lady in her early years. And so I certainly think it would be appropriate for us to adopt a resolution honoring Odyssey. And I think right now she's not going to be living in the community right now. She's actually going on to play professional softball, which is here again, another great honor. But I would like for the board to make a motion to adopt the resolution honoring Ms. Odyssey Alexander. Do you have it drawn up, Mr. Carter?
Yes, sir. You want to read it, sir?
Yeah, read it, please.
Okay, I'll read it. Whereas the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors does wish to hereby honor Miss Odyssey Alexander for her outstanding performance as the star pitcher of the James Madison University Dukes in the NCAA Women's College World Series, and whereas Odyssey is a native of Palmer Springs, was raised by her grandparents Washington and Emily Alexander, who instilled in her the values and work ethic to succeed at anything she attempted. And whereas Odyssey was a member of the South Hill Dixie Belle softball team who won the 2011 and 2012 World Series championships, and whereas Odyssey played basketball, volleyball, and softball and was named an all-conference, an all-district, and all-state for softball as a player on the Parkview Dragons, and whereas as the star pitcher of the James Madison University Dukes softball team, she led them to a season 39-2 record prior to an epic performance in the World Series where she threw 1,057 pitches with 66 strikeouts against 4 opponents. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mecklenburg County Board of Supervisors does hereby wish to honor Miss Odyssey Alexander for her spirit, calm demeanor, natural athleticism, and humble attitude that she has shown throughout her life, and especially through the past week when she was thrust upon the national stage for all to see her true abilities and character.
Outstanding. Whose district is Odyssey? Do you know whose
Mr.
district?
Hargroves.
Oh, that's right.
Would you like to make a motion to adopt this resolution?
Yes, sir, please, I'd like to make a motion to adopt this resolution.
All right, Mr. Hargrove makes a motion to adopt this resolution. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, you have consent calendar in your packet. If there's no questions concerning that, we need a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Chairman, I motion to adopt the consent calendar as presented.
You heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, that concludes our regular agenda items. Public comments, anybody?
Paul has something I think he can answer Mr. Jones's question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jones. Elementary schools will start at 8 and end at 3:30. Secondary schools will start at 7:15 and end at 2:45.
Okay.
And I know some of y'all asked this before. What is the student count for the new high school, middle school, the ADM you built it for?
We built it for 1,300 students at the middle school and 1,500 at the high school.
2,800, okay.
Thank you. Okay, I think everyone who signed the plan has spoken on the 6-year plan. I don't think anyone is left who did not speak on the 6-year plan. So we have no other public comments, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, board member matters. Mr. Jones, why don't you start us off tonight?
Well, just like to thank everybody for coming to this open meeting. It's nice to see these faces again. Actually, when we came back in and had to sit next to each other, it was kind of uneasy for a while there. We were so crowded
Got a
each
little
other.
claustrophobic?
Yeah, right. We just say, don't touch me.
That's right.
But it's nice to be back in the meeting and have the public out there because that's who we serve and to get the feedback from the community. And I just hope that the roads that we have, Mr. Brankley has brought before us, suit the people's needs, and we continue to get the funding that we can do more and more roads in the future. And of course, always kudos to our school superintendent for what he does and bringing us the information he brings us is always positive. And I always appreciate it when the numbers are still working and everybody's happy and things are happening. I'm sure there's some little things we don't know about, but it's just nice to hear. That's about it.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Tanner, you want to go?
Sure. Mr. Chairman, thank you. One thing I'd like to speak on is the resolution we did for Dr. Brown. Dr. Brown has served as the OMD for, I know, Southside Rescue Squad and Chase City ever since Dr. Horn left this area. So it's been well over 20 years. He's been very instrumental in allowing the rescue squads to go out and do more with the skills they have. He's just been a tremendous mentor to everyone, and also working in the emergency room. He was always just that calming figure that you wanted to see when you took somebody into the emergency room, and he's just been a great asset to the area for many years. And also, speaking about Odyssey, I mean, what can you say? She is a tremendous ball player. She's been a tremendous spokesperson for the county, and the way she's carried herself and the way she's always worked hard. So I think that's a tremendous asset to our county. And thank you to all our county employees. I actually stopped the other day. Some of our trash guys were cleaning up some of the dumpsters right outside of La Crosse, and I stopped and talked to them for a few minutes. And these guys just do a tremendous job every day, because it's got to be tough to show up to work every day knowing what they're going to face, because they deal with the same, overflowing dumpsters and everything day in and day out, but they drew a tremendous job with it. And like I said, I just want to thank them and all our county employees for everything they do. And it was great to have everybody, back here tonight. And Ms. Lundy hadn't nudged me but a couple times, so I think we're good.
She used to be right-handed. I got them all.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr.
All right,
Chairman.
thank you. Mr. Worthington.
Yes, sir, thank you. I don't have a lot, Mr. Chairman, a lot of what I was gonna say has been covered. I did have a question for Paul. You said 40% less bus drivers? Is that what you said? Obviously, everybody recognizes it's a huge problem. We can have the nicest school ever, but if we can't get them there, I mean, I know y'all doing all you can, and you can't make people work, but I don't know what this board needs to do as far as helping with that, but.
High speed rail, all down 58.
Yeah, high-speed rail. But we've got to do something. I mean, 40% is huge, and the rest of the workforce is 65 and over.
Yeah.
So where are we gonna be in a few years?
Driving buses.
Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do about this. But
Well,
anyway.
I think too, we can also get the word out there that, hey, we need bus drivers if you're looking for
Oh, yeah.
part-time jobbers,
And I've heard the advertisement on the radio.
Yeah.
I think y'all doing all you can, but it's something that we all really need to take a look at here, for sure. But, and then, of course, back, about Odyssey, I mean, like he said, what can you really say?
She's amazing.
Just a special person. And then I was glad to see about the VDOT, 20 miles of paving in a year. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
I know it'll never be enough. You could have 100 miles of paving, and I understand that. But we should be thankful for that as well. And one last little thing about, about the maintenance of the rails, the trails. I think that's a slippery slope to be playing with at times. As you can overcommit to maintenance of, this is a 2-mile stretch, 25,000 a year. As it continues on, how much can you really, maintain? I think that's something we should all keep in mind going forward. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Lundy?
Yes, thank you, sir. First of all, my head goes off to Odyssey for her excellent performance in school, in the county, in the community. And now she's going on the world scene. I don't know Odyssey that well, but I know her grandparents. And I know she had a good foundation. Okay, now, I have a question. Speaking of this existing CARE Act money, I got a call today. They want to know, the person that called me, if their agency has money left over from doing some of the things they requested earlier, why can't they use the other money to do, not what they want to do, some things they need to do, if it's within the law? The guidelines, I'm saying, when they gave the money out to them. They have been to this board 2 times, they have gotten no response. That's unusual. I may not get the answer today, but I would like to get the answer so I can refer it back to these people. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hargrove?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I am ecstatic about the number of roads that we have on the 6-year plan. And also knowing that the school is on target and progressing, and the building is going good, and they're financially watching their pennies. And also, it's good to have another checking account. So because of the cyber thing they have going on, so to use just for transfers, this way it won't ever get on the system. And also, Mr. Brankley, I want to thank you for watching Odyssey while you were eating peanuts once you were playing.
Hey, Mr. Brankley, your response.
Well, back in those days, I thought I was a pretty good coach, but I had Odyssey and had another girl from Lunenburg that I thought was even better than she was at the time, but we actually lost a few games. So I must have been a poor coach at that level. But, Odyssey, I did have the privilege of coaching her from when she was 14 up to 17. And, I know she had a lot of people that was in this path to help her, but all the credit goes to her grandparents. I mean, her grandparents and her hard work. Her grandparents, I remember the first time I asked her and her grandparents about playing, I told we play weekend ball, and we play we practice from February and it goes through November. And the first thing he told me, he said, "Well, she can play on weekends, but now she can't play on Sunday because she's going to church." And I said, "Well, WD, I understand that, but we play every Sunday just about." The only thing I said, but regardless whether we finish up at 12 o'clock on Sunday or 12 o'clock Sunday night, we have 30 minutes of devotion every Sunday, when we get through it. And I say, with the girls participate and all that. And he said, "I'll tell you something, Brankley, I'm gonna go along for this thing one week and see how it works." And it worked out for 4 years, so it worked out pretty good. But her grandparents that adopted those kids. I mean, they did a super job with those kids and all. The new school, I tell you, I hadn't had the chance to walk through the buildings yet, but I tell you, if you think that thing looks like big from the road, you walk on up there on top of that hill and walk around the back of that thing and all, it is humongous. I mean, it's really big and all. Like I say, back to the roads, I mean, just to get that many on the 6-year plan, when I first come on the board, it was one group of people that come up here every 6-year plan, and they hadn't been here in 9 years because they helped me get elected to be on this board, and I told them I'd do everything I could to help them out. So after that, I figured out how this thing go, and Wayne explained it to me. I went back and called them up and asked could I meet them at their home, and they was all excited like I was going to get them nude. I said, "Look, I'm going to tell you something. This ain't going to happen in your lifetime or mine." Hey, but they on this list. They on this list now, and most of them have already moved away or died. And, those bus drivers, Mr. Nichols, I kind of think I got an idea here. We could go to Tractor Supply and get some farm use tags since we got a farm, put them on the back, and I think we'll be able to get that CDL license no more. So that's all I got.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think everybody's covered it tonight, so I'm gonna pass.
All right, Mr. Spain.
Yes, board member, great to see the press out tonight face us. Don't have to look at Zoom and guess what we're saying. So great to see the people back. The closeness, I get used to it. Hope we all have our shot. That's great. A lot of talk about trash, concern to all of us. What if the press could help us out? I know they're good at publicizing stuff. What if every now and then some article be run, trying to embarrass people about putting trash, encourage people about doing the right thing. So I don't know, we need to do something like the bus drivers. I like that farm you tag on the back of the bus.
We got a farm in there.
So we have some brave people. We have some important people in the county. Every now and then one get promoted to a high level. So we are a great county. I'm proud of that. Ms. Alexander, thank your coach for doing a good job because that's important, and her parents. So we are a great county. And I too received a call, Wayne, concerning the CARES Act money. I told a lady to give you a call concerning money left over, can they give people bonus? I said, contact Mr. Carr, the county administrator.
That'll be coming back to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Yeah, we have
We have
guidelines.
not given
Okay.
anybody bonuses with regards to that, so that'll be up to you all to determine, sir.
Okay, so a proposal for to come to you.
I got it Friday.
Okay, great, okay. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have to say.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, I want to thank Mr. Brankley and the Roads Committee for the work they've done, and I know, the public hearing on roads is an event that Mr. Brankley looks forward to with great anticipation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll be able to sleep tonight now that that's over.
We actually get roads done now. It ain't that bad.
That's right.
That's right.
Good. Dr. David Brown, Dr. Brown is a personal friend of mine, and I've known him for a number of years, and he's a great individual, great physician, and he's one of these doctors that if they're shorthanded in the ER, he works double shifts. And not to say that he's old, but David is my age, so, working the double shift, that's tough. That's tough. Odyssey, saw her play in that World Series that they had here. What was that? What year was that? I don't remember.
11 and 12, I think.
Yeah. And, boy, you could tell then there was something special there. And my wife and I were glued to the College World Series, watching this young lady play. And honest goodness, when she walked off that field and got that standing ovation from everybody in that stadium, boy, I was choking them back, let me tell you. I was choking them back. So, but anyway, congratulations to her, and we just, wish her much success in her future. So, okay, folks, we need to go into closed session.
I got one thing to add.
One thing to add.
I don't know if anybody got the score of the Virginia game, but Virginia won 5-2, so
Yep.
they are in the College World Series along with my team, NC State. So just want y'all to have that information.
Okay, thank you.
This coming weekend they start playing.
Yes.
Mr. Carter, does somebody gonna present that resolution to Odyssey?
We're not sure when Odyssey's going to be.
I mean, to the family of whomever.
David talked to.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
talked to her
take care
today.
of
She's
one
in
for Dr.
Florida.
Brown.
Okay,
Oh,
but
right.
somebody
I'm
gonna
gonna take
present
care
to
of
it
one
here.
for Dr.
I think let's just wait till she, if it's winter time, they through or whenever, we'll find out when she comes, maybe get her up.
Whenever they come, can I make a special request that
Sure.
Mr. Brandon present it to?
Absolutely.
We'll do it together. How about that?
No, because you said that AP was looking at it, I did it.
That's not a problem. Absolutely not a problem. Okay, we need to go into closed session to discuss real estate matter and personnel matter. So I need a motion to go into closed
So
session.
moved, Mr. Chairman.
No, it's gotten.
Motion to go into closed session. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Andy.
We have a motion, go back into open session. All in favor, say aye. Need a motion to certify the closed session? Motion to certify. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're back in open session. We do not need to take any action on items that we discussed in closed session. Anyone else have anything to bring before the board tonight? If not, drive safe and we're adjourned.
Good night. Good night.